Hello, good morning, and welcome back, everybody. Hello, chat. Hello, Jack and Stone, Simone. Welcome back to Adobe Live. We're here on day 2 with Osama Ghazal.
Hi,
How
everyone.
you doing?
Hi, Alexis. Pretty well. What about you?
Pretty great. Day
Awesome.
2, feeling good.
Yep.
Feeling good. Osama's here to talk to us about his bill splitting app, and he's going to be applying a design system that he's created today. So it's going to be pretty beautiful. I think it's going to be a beautiful stream today.
Yeah, hopefully.
Well, awesome. I'm your host, Alexis Bustos, and you know, we have some really fun things ahead of us. We have the Adobe Creative or the Daily Creative Challenge every day, mostly every day, so make sure you guys participate in that. Peter just streamed right before us, so everybody get on that. And then we have a chat to win opportunity in about 15, 30 minutes, something like that. And we are gonna be getting a $30 Moo gift card, which is just a really cool, great amount of money for some business, like a good stack of business cards.
Yes, that is true.
Yeah, so Moo, awesome prints. But without further ado, I can't wait to get in and just start making this app we were talking about yesterday beautiful.
For sure. Hi, Munir. How's it going, man? So again, if you guys didn't tune in yesterday, just introducing myself again. My name is Osama Ghazal. I'm a product designer and educator based in Toronto, Ontario. And today I'm working on a bill splitting app that we started off yesterday. We created a design system that we hope that we can apply today on the app and just change it from gray boxes. Apologize for that, Alexis. Alexis is a great fan.
I'm a big fan of gray boxes. Yeah, I'm sad there's no gray boxes, but
we're gonna color that app today, so make it more colorful. And this is pretty much the design system that we created yesterday. And these are all the components that we will need to use. And let me turn that into full screen because Tim likes it full screen more. So let me get back to this.
nice.
Yep.
Really cool design system that we got to get a sneak peek of yesterday. So now we're fully applying onto these gray boxes.
Yeah, so these are all the components that we will need today to hopefully make this more engaging and compelling.
Nice. Yeah, I remember we had a big discussion around tips yesterday
Oh,
in
yeah,
the chat,
tips
because this
was
is a
like
bill splitting app.
Yeah.
You know, it's perfect. We talked about what other apps,
Venmo, Splitwise.
all of these different times and forms of apps that'll help you not have that awkward moment with your friends at the dinner table right after a beautiful meal. And I'm really liking Osama's taking a really cool approach with showing percentages and showing.
Oh yeah, that was something recommended by you guys in the chat and other people who looked at the app before, or the few screens that I shared with my friends before. So yeah, it's gonna be fun. Can't wait to finalize this one.
Awesome. If anyone's new in the chat from yesterday, let us know where you're tuning in from.
Awesome.
Where are you joining us from today?
Like here?
Yeah, you've come from all over to meet us here. I feel like you're very well traveled.
Oh yeah, I mean, I lost it for a second. I was like looking at the screen. I apologize. So yeah, I live in Toronto, but I'm originally from Egypt. Any people from Egypt in the chat? Let's say hi.
Say hi.
Yeah, but before going to Canada, I was actually living in Los Angeles because I went to school in the States. I went to school in Miami, then I traveled a little bit in the States. So I got a job in Los Angeles and lived there for like a year. Then I went back to my home country, Egypt, before getting back to Canada eventually. Yeah.
Awesome.
So quite a trip.
Quite a trip.
Yeah.
Quite a trip, and quite a journey to design as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think we are ready just to have a quick overview over the wireframe that we
Simone's
created.
from the Netherlands.
The Netherlands. Oh, awesome. Netherlands.
Nice. What was the other thing we were talking about? Different places of different cultures around bill splitting and tipping, right? So it's like you had an experience where you kind of got like almost kicked out of a restaurant because you like insist on tipping.
And a country that I actually got, this situation happened to me not too far from Netherlands, so so it was a little bit embarrassing.
If there's a special way that your culture handles tipping and bill splitting, let us know. Let us know in the chat.
Yes, please.
We're here to educate each other, not just on design.
So I don't do the same mistake again. I don't want to do that again.
Awesome.
To Netherlands. Have you ever been to Netherlands before?
No.
I wanted to.
I
was very
to go.
close. Like.
I would love to go.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. I'd love to see like what you've kind of elaborated on since we've seen this since yesterday.
Yeah. So just to kick off the day, we have two sections so far. The first one is where you actually enter all the bill information and start calculating or adding taxes and tips. Then from there, you can go and select a certain group of friends where you can split the bill with. And once you do so, you hit next and go to the screen that we are gonna be finalizing now. So that's the slider that we created yesterday to help you get more control over the percentage that each friend will end up paying. And we also have this tooltip that like says approved for me yesterday and like that, where you can actually combine all the selected friends into one group so that it becomes easier in the future if you're hanging out with the same group of people to split wisely. Then we also have this lovely section over here where you can choose and start a new bill for an existing group, so you don't have to start the entire process from scratch again. Once you do so, you go delete or edit the group information, add a bill, or if you want to edit the group information and name it differently. And yeah.
Wow, that's you got a lot done. That's a great feature to have though, in terms of like when you're bill splitting, being able to save this group. I like that you've kind of added that feature, and
then yeah,
because you usually eat out and do things with probably the same groups of people, or maybe similar groups of people. You know, maybe some buddies that you always get that, you know, that pizza with, or
at least once a week or
schoolmates,
something.
right? Schoolmates or college friends that you want to go halvesies on that dinner with. So, yeah, it's cool to save
really
the group.
helpful and comes in handy for sure. Or if you have like a roommate or something and you want to split the expenses with, you can definitely use the app or something like that. So,
Right.
and this is the history of the bills per group. So if you're hanging out with the same people or you're working with the same people quite often, you can have a like history of all the transactions that you guys process together.
Yeah. And we talked a little bit about your kind of the style that you're might be using. You have a lot of these like rounded corners and kind of this really cool like menu option off to the side. You talked a little bit about like why you chose those, or like why you kind of started with those.
So first of all, like rounded corners are becoming like quite trendy now, like everywhere in the design language in general when it comes to UI and mobile applications. There's something, you actually said it yesterday, there is something welcoming about rounded corners. Like I can't really articulate it, it looks nice when you look at it, it's friendly. It encourages you to keep navigating through the app or the product you're using. But it's tricky though, because once you create like a rounded corner around certain edges, you get a little bit stuck. So what next I should or shouldn't do? Should I maintain that style across all the screens just to keep everything balanced and in good shape, or I have to change it a little bit? So you keep going back and forth between the screens a lot, just to make sure that everything is balanced and following correctly within the grids. But in general, it's like very welcoming and trendy. You can see it now everywhere, and a lot of people, designers, are using it pretty often. So yeah.
Nice. Just remember, it's always like this hard thing to do with like staying on trend, right? Staying on trend, but having your flow, having your use case be something that could maybe transcend your design style.
Yeah.
Right. So, because you can apply a style. We're going to do this today. We're going to apply a certain type of style, but in a heartbeat, that style could change, or maybe your team could decide on a completely different color palette. And so, how can your design stay relevant and can adjust well to changes as well?
So yeah, actually, since you said that, I wouldn't be surprised, and I said that yesterday, if you guys remember, like I wouldn't be surprised if I just come back in a couple of weeks and change a few things here and there. Even the entire like rounded corner style, I can just come up with a new idea or see something else out there in the design community that I really like and try to apply this here if it fits the concepts. So what Alexa said yesterday is completely true. Like designs are never done. You will just be back always trying to fix and add something here and there. So feel free to do that. Not just because you posted it somewhere, it means that it's done. you can
Right.
always fix and adjust things in your designs.
Right. Yeah. That's that great tip that you gave us. It was you can go back into your portfolio, and that thing that you uploaded, that project you uploaded, it doesn't have to stay that way forever.
Yeah.
You can adjust. You can change. That's a good tip. It's a good tip for anyone who has older projects.
Yep. So let's check out.
Tim says Chrome.
There's a Chrome. Oh yeah. All right. So are we good to start now?
Nice.
Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna be starting with this screen here. Let me change the colors a little bit and just make it more vibrant. So I'll use my assets. And by the way, guys, I linked all my assets from this file here, but in order to do that, just make sure that the file you want to link the assets from is saved to the cloud. Then when you get back to the editing canvas or the design canvas, you can go to the plus icon over here, then choose that file from the cloud again. And once you do so, everything will be listed here. So you have everything you need to start designing.
Boom. That's a boom. As a designer.
Yeah, we need some sound effects here. This is going to be the new feature in XD, like some sound effects.
Assets
Yeah.
transferred. Yeah, that's the sound effect that XD adds to just me going boom.
Boom. It works for everything. Right, so.
Oh, using the gradients.
Yeah, just try to keep it so subtle as possible. And that's why I'm using like two similar variations of the same color, because I don't want to go so far from one color. I just want to keep everything as cohesive as possible.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Simone says, I agree with that. I'm still working with changing my portfolio. Yeah, I think we all are.
That will never stop. I
That never
promise you.
ends.
That will never stop.
Yeah. Yeah. Portfolios change, websites update constantly. Even professional designers who've been doing it for years and years, they'll still go back and change everything. Or put nothing, make it really super minimal. I have a friend who, I think everyone knows Sam. Sam has a really great website for a portfolio, and it doesn't show really his work, but he made the website, and it's all about kind of like a topic he's interested in. It's interesting. It's just a different take on a portfolio.
It's like 3D sound effects, right? Like
Yeah.
I checked the website once.
Yeah.
It's really great, guys. It's like an experience. He didn't really care about like just
Showcasing
his work. He tried to create an experience in itself. So that was great.
Yeah, so there's really no end to a portfolio, sadly. Yeah, I'm constantly feeling like I need to redo mine.
I'm not gonna lie. I never finished my portfolio website yet. Like not to the point where I can be satisfied or feel good about myself.
Well, that's
Yeah.
the real
Yeah.
takeaway there is, are you ever gonna feel completely satisfied with your portfolio?
No.
As a designer. I would say no, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing. So yeah, for anyone who's just joining us, we're here with Osama Ghazal, and we are going through a bill splitting app that he's created for us, first with wireframes, and now we're applying a design system he's also created, and he's brought it over into XD, into a different file in XD from a completely other. So it's he's going pretty fast. You're doing it. We're applying design styles. That's the thing with design, with having a design system in place, like in a XD. You can apply them so fast, and your flow of work really is seamless,
Yeah.
and speedy. I was gonna say, like, it's just so fast. We were talking a lot about prototyping yesterday and how if there are different ways to different use cases to have different types of prototypes, and it's great with XD. You can create a very high fidelity mock-up pretty quickly in the same amount of time maybe you would sketch the same thing. And so instead of using a paper prototype, you can use something that looks like an app that you could use and get it on a phone pretty quickly.
Yeah, this one is a little bit tricky in here because I keep double overthinking a little bit. Well, there.
Simone says, I look at it and I'm like, okay, what can I change? I'm assuming your portfolio, or what will work next, but never happy. It's true. It is a journey.
Because some people, they have like a very weird approach of design. So they design something, then after they finish, they decide to take something out of it. Then they design again, then they take another thing out. Like they're trying to unclutter their designs in some sense. So
Right.
yeah.
And it's always important to like showcase that. How do you showcase that you can like think through those things?
Yep. And prioritize features
Yeah.
in a way.
Osama works as a instructor as well, so he has students going through this. What are your students like when it comes to their portfolios, and what's the advice you give your students?
I say that content is the king of everything. So you can definitely spend your time investing in fancy animations to showcase your portfolio and make your website look great. Definitely something that I would encourage, but I would say give the highest priority to the content and the projects that you want to showcase, because those are the things that people will judge your work for and take the decision whether you're a good fit or not. So,
Right. Ooh, we could talk about portfolios all day. I could go deep.
so when you started creating yours, did you have like any inspiration in mind, like someone that you were looking up to?
Yeah, I mean, there are so many different ways people have their portfolios. I remember I really wanted to not overwhelm the viewer with different projects all at once, which is, some people will do the opposite. Some people show all their projects kind of right up front, so you can have like an overview. I was really, I don't know what I was inspired by. I think I was inspired by more single imagery at a time, full page. So I don't know, I think it was it felt like a sports ad almost.
Oh, okay.
Right? I liked the simplicity around like sports ad, like, so I could label like automotive, say I had a project, it was like automotive, it could be an automotive and then a big image or like a hero image of maybe what my project was. But you only saw it one at a time. So yeah, there's no wrong way. And a lot of people will be like, oh, it's maybe, everyone has a different opinion over what your portfolio should be as well.
Yeah, so do you have any projects that, I wouldn't say the word regrets, but you wish
That's a good question.
you wish you wouldn't have showcased on your portfolio sometime?
I think we all do. Do you?
Yes. Yeah, I do.
Do you chat? Do you have any projects you're like, oh, I think I need to take that one down or redo on your portfolio? Yeah, a lot of school projects. But you know, those are important to showcase too, that you've come a long way with your designing skills.
And that's why I keep drafting some projects and get back to them, adjust some elements, then repost again.
Yep. Oh, look at that repeat grid action.
I literally can keep doing that just all day.
Nice. Nice. All right, we're at 10 minutes till Chat and Win, y'all. And Chat and Win today is going to be $30 to move.com.
And now I'm just kind of at 10 minutes of chat and win. Okay, did I interrupt something?
No, no, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah, I was trying to use the user persona or UI faces to fill in these circles, just make it look like a real contact list.
Yes.
So, which one I should use? Just how to use it.
Just doing all the different options for the faces.
Yeah.
Is it going to populate all of them?
Yeah.
Oh, there you
grid.
go.
Yeah.
It's a grid, right?
That's why.
Very nice. See, so easy. So much time could have been spent masking each one of those. The ever long designing pixel by pixel.
Oh yeah. That's one of the big challenges when it comes to moving from designing to developing. How do you do that? How do you actually communicate your designs with developers?
Oh. Well, there's a lot of different ways. I think it's based on team. It's based on what your team's comfortable with, and it depends on the team size as well. Yeah, there's a couple different systems or types of programs that have pretty great plugins. I think XD is kind of coming along with its own set of sharing plugins directly to developer tools. Are there any that you use that you would shout out?
Yep, I do XD for sure. That's my primary
And you share
tool.
how do you share with developers with XD?
Sometimes I like, if I'm working on a project that I have complete freedom to communicate the assets, I like to go old school a little bit and record everything and create a copy deck for everything.
Oh, wow.
Just to avoid any potential misunderstanding at some point of the development process. And to be more professional, I'm using something like Zipline, for example, to
Zipline.
integrate and the cloud here, like the sharing functionality that we have in XD. And after you do so, you can just share that link with the developers and they can run through the entire project easily. And also, there is a new plugin, not new, it's been around for a while, but new for the plugin panel itself. It's called Simply, this one. Simply Hands Off. I know this way back 2-3 years ago. The good thing about it is it provides two plugins, one for the designers and the other one for developers on Xcode. So you don't have to leave Xcode if you want to import assets from XD.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so they open like an extra panel in Xcode and connect everything you created in
That's
XD to
awesome.
XD. Yeah.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and every team's different.
For sure. For sure.
So that maybe you're working directly with your like a single developer, or are you working with a team when you're
Well,
when you're sharing like that?
when I'm sharing like that, I'm working directly with the developers. Yes. Usually I work with like 2 to 3 developers
Got
at a
it.
time. So.
Got it. Yeah, we were talking. You do more of a contract, kind of like freelance type work.
Yeah.
Versus like more of an in-house with like a larger team. So you can have that like FaceTime with your developer. It's like such a huge benefit
Yeah.
to working with smaller teams and like, or at someplace like a startup even,
That's true. Design agencies.
or design agencies. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah. We had to work with a lot of. Working with developers can be really fun. Like coding side by side
yeah.
and working on what you're creating together, and it's a magical thing when your designs start to move like real and can actually work like in real life.
It's like the aha moments. So
Oh,
once
yeah.
you get, we got it, guys.
Yeah.
It feels good. Right, so how do you like this one, Alexa? Like darker, brighter? I'm trying to differentiate a little bit.
Yeah. I think the darker works.
Yeah.
What do you think, chat?
Hey guys.
If there's anything you wanna, any
Suggestions?
color that you're like, that might not work, let us know, and we will consider your opinion.
Okay, so
Kashish is saying, I've tried some 3D animations in XD too, using perspectives and paths. Have you tried any 3D animation?
slightly, yeah. I mean, because I use a lot of After Effects when it comes to like more advanced animations, so yeah.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta go with the OG, but hopefully down the road, XD will keep creating and making it easier for us to make some cool 3D animations just right in XD.
Oh, that would be wild.
That would be wild.
Yeah, that would be wild.
Simone says, my teachers were like, use Photoshop. Well, I was like, no, I want to use XD. And in the end, they began using it, and now I see them always using it. Yeah, it's pretty seamless if you're already using an Adobe product for your workflow.
Oh my goodness, yes.
So-
And if you're working across like multiple teams, like illustrators, artists, developers, it just becomes much easier to unify the process. And yeah,
Yeah, Photoshop to XD is seamless.
yeah.
About 4 minutes to chat and win. What are we gonna chat about today? We'll think about that. We have 4 minutes to think about it.
I mean, I love traveling, so probably how many countries did you guys travel before?
Ah, that's a good. All right, inform everyone. Remember how many countries you've gone to, so you can type it for the chat and win. But save it for the chat and win. Tim says 90% of the time they teach you, but sometimes you have to teach them too. I'm assuming you're talking about developers. Yes.
Yeah.
I think that could be said for most places you work. I mean, you work with students, and they're teaching you just as much as you're teaching them.
Yeah. They definitely impact the way you're trying to deliver the contents and communicate the design principle with them, because not everyone is able to absorb what you're teaching at first.
Right.
So you have to keep iterating over and over just to make sure that everyone on the same page.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Teaching, the ultimate prototype. Yeah. And I mean, just like here at Adobe Live, we're sharing our screens, but we're learning just as much from the chat. So
The best way
just
to get
learning from each other. Nice. Do you feel like you get really? Do you feel like you spend a lot of time making sure you're on, like your designs are perfect, or are you more of a kind of go with the flow type designer, like we'll come back to it later, like it's okay?
I like to spend as much time as possible just trying to perfect my designs. Then at some point I just give up, because at one point I find myself like spending 8-9 hours on the same design, and that makes no sense at all. So at some times just, I give up, I go relax, chill, do anything, then come back again. Yeah.
What do you do to do that, to relax, to pull yourself away?
Well, to unwind, I like to edit videos. I go to the gym, I work out a little bit. I love to swim. So, yeah, that's definitely one of the things.
Yeah.
What about you?
I listen to a lot of music.
What kind of music?
Depends. I'm a big fan of hip hop and R&B.
Okay.
But I can mess around with a little bit of funk music. But I mean, put me near a campfire and I'll listen to Bon Iver for days. So it really just depends. It really just depends. I listen to a lot of podcasts, though. Podcasts are a big thing for me. If anyone has any great design podcasts they listen to, please share in the chat, because I'm always looking for new ones. Do you listen to any design podcasts?
I did listen to a couple for sure on Dribble. Like I found some on Dribble before, but I'm not like, I'm not listening to them quite often. It's not like my go-to.
Right. Yeah. I don't know what it is. I like people talking in my ear.
Yeah.
Maybe a lot of people in the chat do as well. All right, 50 seconds to chat and win. Right, so the question we're gonna chat about is, how many countries have you visited?
Yes.
Give us that number. Start chatting. Let us know what your favorite place was. Let us know just how many.
UX Cake. Also.
UX Cake. Okay, I'll write that one down. Someone wants to start a podcast. Let's all start a podcast.
That'll be fun.
I mean, why not,
That'll be
right?
a lot of fun.
Yeah, I listen to Wireframe. I listen to Design Matters.
Design Matters. Oh yeah, I know this
Design
one.
Matters is a great one. Yeah. Creative Pep Talks. Adobe live streams for sure. Woo! We're kind of like a podcast.
I did not
people.
count this one
Yeah.
as a podcast, but I usually have it in the background, like for real, on my phone and just working or doing anything.
Awesome. All right, guys, chat and win. Here we go. We will see you guys soon.
Oh.
Hi, welcome back. We're talking about a lot of things, but we just want to chat, mostly.
Yeah.
So keep chatting so you can win $30 for moo.com. Do you have business cards?
I used to have one, and I was so close to have my Moo cards before my bag was stolen.
Love Moo.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Well, you'll have to start chatting.
Sorry.
You have to win. Right. We're talking about podcasts, but also how many countries you've been to. We talked about how many countries you've made your way to. You're currently in Canada right now.
Yeah, like in total, I visit like 11 countries, including Canada and the U.S. for sure. So,
Yeah. And you came from Egypt,
yeah, from Egypt.
which is great. Oh,
Dawn.
we got a winner.
Congratulations.
Hello, Dawn. You did it. Congratulations, you won $30 to moo.com. Time to get those business cards rolling. But everyone in the chat, you still won. With Adobe Live, moo.com/Adobe Live, you've won 15% off your Moo order. So guys, go get some Moo cards. They're great.
They're awesome, for real.
They're helpful.
Yeah.
They ship right to you. And then you get jobs.
For sure. That's the key.
Get creative with your business cards.
Can I just...
Nice. Look at everyone. Everyone's telling us where they've been. Spain, England, Germany, France, Belgium. Love it. Simone.
So
good
the
job.
country, I can easily tell that the country where I almost got kicked out because I was trying to tip is one of those 5 countries.
Oh. So which one of those 5 countries doesn't like it when you tip?
That would be
Well,
a
no,
fun-
we'll figure that out later.
If you guys figured that out, like probably you can win another Moo card.
Yeah, Osama will ship you directly.
Yeah, for sure.
He'll like
That would be on me.
He'll
That's
get a Moo card for you. He can decide if you can guess which country almost kicked him out, or which restaurant in which country almost kicked him out because he tried to tip. France? Is it France?
No.
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 Munir is from just one country, Istanbul, Turkey, besides where I'm from. Cool. I just went to Spain and Portugal.
Oh my God,
recently.
it's like on top of my list. Spain,
Amazing.
yeah.
Spain's awesome. Portugal is it Belgium? Sergio
Yeah.
asks, is it Belgium?
Yes.
Is it really? Sergio, hold this guy accountable. He promised you some things. Yeah, you just never know with countries and cultures what's appropriate or not. So it's another thing about it's another thing with your app, you know, that's a cool feature that we thought about yesterday was having like a cultural sensitivity gauge right before you pay the bill.
Yeah.
Like I see you're in Belgium. Maybe you shouldn't include tip. It was a cool idea.
Figured. Yeah, someone says figured. Yes.
Figured.
Simon.
Spain and Japan. Oh, Sophie really likes my shirt. Thank you, Sophie. What countries have you been to? Stone says, in Italy, you don't twirl your linguine with a spoon. Total insult. Good to know.
Little insult. Okay.
Do you pay? Do you give tip and do you split bills in Egypt? Like, how does that work?
Oh no.
No. Okay.
No.
What's
no.
the cultural appropriate thing to do?
I mean, I'm pretty sure like some people here will recognize what I'm talking about. Actually, in a country like Egypt, we fight over who's gonna pay.
Yeah.
So that's something. Not like fight, like we argue. Like no,
Like,
you're not paying. Oh, I'll
I
have
have
it.
it.
Yes.
Oh wow. Who eventually wins? Like, if when someone wins, do they? Like, is it usually like the oldest person in the group, or is it just like the most?
No, not really. It depends on the situation, for real. So,
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Oh, yeah. You can fight me for like 2 seconds before I say, "All right, you got it."
And it's like big deal there.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll remember next time I have dinner with an Egyptian, I will.
Oh yeah.
I will fight.
You gotta
pay
take
the bill. Like,
advantage.
no, I got it.
And the trick is to start offering.
Okay.
I got this. You just say that and you're gold.
Okay. It's just okay. That's like it's like you're in with an Egyptian when you're like, no, like let me
Yeah, let me get this.
let me
and,
get
yeah,
this. I know the food hasn't come yet, but like let me get this.
Let me get this.
Okay, got
First
it.
you'll have like a weird look because we don't expect it from any other country or culture, but like once you get it, say no, it's on me. So
Okay. Good note.
yeah.
Good note. Sophie's been to Portugal and Spain as well. Beautiful country. I hope you did some fun things there.
Yeah, I did.
Beautiful countries.
Yeah. I love their waffle. Belgium, they have like the best waffle I've ever tried. Strawberry waffle I ever tried in my life.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've not been. I would love to go.
Because I was in school back in Miami, and we had a exchange program for the last semester, just 2 months. So it was really nice.
Beck says, I'm originally from Australia and now living in New Zealand, but I've also been to LA and San Francisco where I had to learn all about tipping. Yes, there you go. See, this, I'm telling you, this idea around some type of cultural sensitivity tip.
Speaking of that, I'm actually trying to split the tax and tip because smaller numbers, it gets harder. So 15 times 4. I'm just doing that, like adding these details because we're gonna need it for the slot machine animation.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so
you guys, there's actual math happening right now.
Oh yeah.
Designers, don't freak out, but there's math occurring. I love that how accurate it's going to be. It really does help. Because that's the worst thing, is when your copy actually is not real.
Yep.
Right? And especially with numbers. When you're messing around with numbers and percentages in your designs, make sure to at least try to make them reasonable. So many banking apps have like ridiculous numbers in the background. It's like, you really lost me with that one.
That's a tricky one for sure. Some people are so meticulous when it comes to writing mistakes like typos, grammar, and all that. And some other people get really meticulous and particular when it comes to numbers. So yeah.
Yeah, I had professors in school who, if they saw a typo on somebody's project, they would basically stop looking at it. It'd be over. In any presentation, in any maybe signage, or say they printed a poster or something, or display something, they'd like rip it down. They'd be like, no typos, nothing.
That's harsh.
It's harsh, but if you're gonna make something of high quality, you gotta make sure to have that spell check on. You gotta make sure to have those numbers at least close to being right.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think numbers we can forgive because not everybody can do such fast math. But yeah, that's right. Whenever I have to write a lot of copy for a product or something I'm designing, I'll write it in a doc.
Oh
separate,
yeah.
And then do a spell check and like just kind of read it like I'm reading anything, like a page of notes, or just kind of looking at it like, does that sentence make sense at all?
Do you ask anyone to approve for you?
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely. And that's a whole separate job in itself, is UX writing.
Oh yeah.
And being good at it.
So here's the slot machine animation that I was talking about. So I'm just going to be showing an example on the first one because it's going to take some time adjusting all the numbers and converting that from being typed to path and masking them. So I will just give an example, then I have everything prepared here beforehand. I made them before the stream. So what I'm going to be doing is to, first of all, create multiple instances of these numbers like that.
Okay.
Then combine them all together in one group. Then draw a shape. No, actually the other way. And mask the whole thing. So when you actually copy and paste that on the other artboard, you can move the numbers inside the shape and the animation will happen.
Right, so the numbers stay only within that,
the mask.
The mask.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So let's just show an example. Something like this.
I see.
Yeah. And that's basically how we create a slot machine animation, and eventually it looks something like this. So you drag the slider up, everything will change and repopulate, and that's what I was trying to explain yesterday, but it's just harder to explain without having something to see. I said that I don't want to integrate or incorporate any math operations at all, like subtraction or addition, just one unified function to navigate and apply the same thing over and over with a like one action basically. So that's how we came up with the slider animation supported by the percentage for each friend. And once you change or move that slider up and down, all the percentages and numbers will repopulate to represent what or how much each one will pay.
That's great. So you don't have to kind of leave and leave out of the same screen, repopulate each individual field.
Yes.
Versus, yeah, that's great. It's a very, it's a great effect. It's a great effect. I really like being able to kind of like see as a whole what everybody owes and not having that total change, right?
Yeah.
So, because another issue is you come to the end of a meal and somehow you've gathered everyone's money, but like there's still like $20 missing, right? So this really kind of helps remedy that type of problem. That's great. Look how smooth that is.
And in real world settings, like if you were to develop this app, everything will be supported in the back end. So developers will be taking care of the math operations. Sorry, developers, we apologize, but
they like math. It's okay.
Yeah.
They love math.
That will be taken care of in the back end to accurately repopulate the values correctly. And still, we have a few more options if you want to edit or even change and exit the operation and start from scratch. We still have that option, but just more seamless way for everyone to edit the values separately without needing to go back and forth between the screens.
That's so fun.
Yeah.
That's really fun. Can we see that one more time?
Absolutely. All right, get back in here. So I want Tiffany to pay less than her friends. So I just move this slider up. So everything will change, the percentages, the bill amounts, and hair share from the tax and tip. It depends on how things went down pretty much.
So you did that with a combination of the drag trigger with auto animate.
Yeah, the mask.
And then the masks themselves being on the next screen.
So the trick here, if you try to apply the same effect by dragging the mask itself, nothing's going to happen.
Yeah.
So you have to create additional component that works as a trigger, and hence the slider, basically. So when you go to prototype and highlight the slider, you'll see that the trigger was set to drag, auto animate. The action is auto animate, and the easing is ease in and out.
You don't want it to be too like intense. You want it to ease in and ease out, right? Right? Isn't that the curve, animation curve? It's like ease in.
Yeah, the Bezier curve. Yeah. And there's one of the things that when XD first came out with the auto animate feature, I was thinking about, why don't we just have like a Bezier curve? Then I started thinking about it again. I was like, no. This is not what XD was built for. It's just, they built something to help people get into realness as fast as possible, like without dealing with more complex animations or anything, which was on point. So.
That's a great use of both of those tools.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one thing two things I can't wait for.
Yeah.
Hopefully they come pretty soon. They come up pretty soon. Is one, hover states. I have no idea if they're going to be included in the next update or not. And the other one that I really want to discover is what kind of updates are included in the voice animation. Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah.
So you hear that, XD designers? You have some work to do.
So when was your first time using XD?
Oh, maybe 2 years ago. 2 or 3 years ago. Actually, I went to school with one of then he was an intern on the XD team. Now he's currently a designer on the XD team. But we were going to school together at the time. And one of a great tip for anybody who's just learning is making it a part of your routine to try new and different prototyping tools like XD. XD was new, and so we kind of started using it for different projects. I think I used it for a couple, as well as some of the other ones that we don't talk about on this stream. But yeah, I think it was still pretty new. It was so new. It didn't have any of the features that it has now. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's been cool to watch it kind of grow. But definitely a good tip out of that is to always try new softwares as they come out and make it a part of your toolkit to adjust and learn to them, because you never know which one's going to be like the big one or the new one that your team needs to use or you need to adjust into.
So I started XD ever since it came out.
Yeah, really?
It was Project Comet at the time, so that was back in 2015.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you're a pro. Old school.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
I mean, not old. Simone says I used it as it first came out, and I was like, this is cool, then kept it, but it's been a while, so I will go back in. Yeah, go back in, play around. It's changed a lot. And great
I
tip,
promise,
Tim.
yeah.
Everybody who's new to XD, there's a great site called letsxd.com.
Oh yeah.
If you have any questions or want to understand how to use XD more, great site. Howard Pinsky is your guy. There's some different prototyping kits, as well as just basic UI kits as well, just to get you started in XD, and some really great tutorials. And kind of there's a lot of new update videos, so you can always stay on top of XDs. Yeah, make sure to visit the site if you haven't. It's great. Some great resources, some great plugins, UI kits. A lot of our guests on the stream actually have created a lot of these UI kits, I think. Yeah, and you can actually go back in their streams and watch them use them.
Let's XD is awesome. My favorite section in this website is the Snackables section.
Snackables.
Yeah.
Let's go back to Snackables then.
Yeah, it's
Where's Snackables? Where is Snackables? Here it is.
Oh, here, yeah. It's 1 minute per video. It's really
these
awesome.
Those are great.
Yeah.
Those are great. Just 1 minute videos, but stay here for right now.
Yeah.
Stay with us, and then go look at letsxd.com, and you're done.
All right, so here's another use of components in XD. So as we can see here, I have multiple instances of the same card over and over. So instead of just having to re-edit all of them individually, you can just create a component and go to the master components, and to identify the master component is the one with the little diamond here, and go change the colors or adjust them the way you want. So I'm just gonna change that to probably change the mask first, and use my accent color, which is this. And you can notice that everything else
They all change, yeah.
Same thing will happen with the text. And now let's change the card itself to white.
And so this component, this master component, actually sits on the assets panel right down below. So all of those to the left that he's hovering over, those are all assets that have a master essentially somewhere on his designs that can be changed. Once you change the master,
everything else will change.
Everything changes. It's really.
But the good thing about that,
easy.
honestly, in my opinion, in the last update that you guys came up with here at Adobe XD, is that you made it possible to change or edit the instances without affecting the master component. That was really great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you show us kind of an example of what you're talking about?
Yeah, sure. So let's say that I want to do the same thing, change the color, but this is like an instance. This is not the master component. So let's say that I want to change that to any other color. Nothing will happen to the rest of the instance because I'm not adjusting or editing the master component. I'm actually working on one of the duplicate that I created in the beginning.
Right. So only if you change the master will everything change.
Everything, yes, will apply on the rest of them.
Yeah, say that you want to change everything, text, spacing, colors, but maybe there's a different photo on each, or maybe there's a different image on each of your instances. You can change those individually if you want.
Yeah. So once you change something, we will actually do that. So once you change something, you can go back to the instance or the duplicate you created and start adjusting this copy individually. It will be super easy.
Marissa has a question around components and a way to organize when you have a lot of them. What do you do when you have like a lot of components? Is this one of those things?
Oh yeah, that's a good question. I do this, just being completely frank. Like I have
put them in a separate doc.
in a separate doc, and
actual different. Are you in a completely different file?
Yeah.
On XD, got
a
it.
completely different file, and I make sure to save that file to the cloud. So this is the library I'm going to be using. Like I know what kind of document I need to look for in the cloud whenever I want to fetch or copy some components. I know where to go.
Got it. And this updates as well.
Yeah.
These components will update. So you can work on in these docs, in these separate files, and maybe your brand changes over time, and maybe those colors are slightly off. You can go back and reapply those.
Reapply these colors.
Those
yeah.
colors, and they're going to come back. It's all just one beautiful linking system.
Yes.
Right. So hope that helps, Marissa. We have a separate document with your actual assets laid out and kind of organized.
Actually, Tim says I end up collating them in one document. Yeah, it's pretty much
one
pretty
document.
much. It's the safest way just to keep everything organized and without losing anything.
That's good.
Which plugins do you recommend?
Which plugins? Ooh.
I have a lot of them.
The most. I'm interested in hearing which ones you use a lot.
User profile, UI faces, Trello, because we use Trello for project management where I work, and rename it for sure if I'm working on something that will require probably tens and hundreds of layers.
What does that one do exactly?
Which one? Rename it?
Rename it.
Rename it to
Oh,
organize.
we used that one yesterday. Yeah.
What else? Yeah, these are the ones I keep using over and over, like almost in every project. Have anything else to? I want to use Alexa Preview, but for some reason in Canada I can't really launch any skill that I created. There's some sort of special authorization I need to get first, so I couldn't. Yeah, I couldn't use it so far, but I'm really intrigued to see how it works. Hopefully that answered your question, Marissa.
Yeah, if there's any problem or you'd like a plugin to answer, yeah, shout it out. Let us know. Maybe the chat has a plugin that they use for that. And you
also
have a lot of plugins on your on your panel.
Stark. I forgot to mention this one.
Stark. Yeah.
This one is for accessibility, like to check the contrast, the font sizes, and if you're building something and you want to check with colorblind kind of users, you can use Stark to simulate this process, and it's really helpful in that sense as well.
Yeah, that's a great one. That's a great one to double check all of your screens. Oh, man, there's so many. There's so many cool plugins, and I'm sure they're only going to come out with more.
I bet.
It's going to get better and better. Yeah. Wikify is one of my favorites.
Wikify, yeah, that generates.
Wikify was a fun one. So all the ones I basically use. Those UI faces really come in handy, I will say. Nice. I'm glad that helps, Marissa. Nice. Ooh. It's intense. It's like a crazy eyeshadow.
Yeah.
If anyone's who's just joining the chat, thank you for joining us, by the way.
Thank you, guys.
We're here with Osama Ghazal, and we are going through a bill splitting app that he's created, and we are applying a design system which he's also created. And he's pulled those assets over into this current doc, this current XD file, and applying them pretty seamlessly with all the different ways you can do it in XD. So thanks for joining us. And in about 35 minutes, we're going to be going over the Daily Creative Challenge that Peter gave us this afternoon. I hope you guys are partaking in that challenge. For those of you who don't know what the Daily Creative Challenge is, go check it out. On Behance, actually, if you're in the chat right now, there's a little tab right above you. It says Challenge. Gives you full instructions so you can participate. They're great. There's one a day. They unlock daily. Today we're talking about a landing page.
Landing page, yeah, that's an interesting one.
Yeah.
So here's a little trick that I was trying to simulate in XD, but it turned out like it was very tough to animate this. It's like a shuffle effect. So once you hit the edit button to delete or edit the information per group, it shuffles and the whole screen shuffles, and it was a little bit tough to manage. So I ended up just using After Effects for it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. Did you get to put that together, or is it already?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
So
I
we'll see
did.
that later. Nice. Yeah.
Okay.
There's some cool animations that still can't really. Sometimes you still need After Effects for the newer ones that that aren't as conventional.
Yeah.
That you want to kind of switch up your interactions and create something brand new, industry has never seen before.
Yeah,
After Effects is the way to do that.
Yeah.
Tim says technically you could do a wiggle animation in XD.
Like using
with like
using
three
a loop.
O's.
Using a loop. I would mention. I didn't honestly try that. I just figured since I know how to use it in After Effects using the wiggle effects, I just tried the easiest option for me.
Yeah.
Let me.
Isn't that what it's really about too, though, when you're doing work? It's what's going to
Oh, got it. Yes,
artwork
the
with a
loop and
loop,
use
yeah.
the time trigger. Yes. Thank you, Tim. With auto animate. Using the loop, yeah.
loop and wiggle.
How now you're making me think like
Now
how smooth
you
it's
should
gonna
try
be.
it.
Yeah, I
You should
will.
try it.
I will. How smooth that would be. So I'll actually finish those, then get back to this one. Thank you, Tim.
Yeah. So this is the end, kind of this confirmation type screen.
No, this one.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, it's like once you start creating your groups, and if you want to edit something, add more people to the group, and this is the safe space for the bill history. Like if you process any
Got it.
transactions with them before. Too bad I didn't create a component for the X mark. My bad. I forgot about that.
Yeah, that's the tricky part.
Yeah.
A lot of planning when you want to be seamless in your workflow.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Tim says, I know XD supports up to 144 artboard transitions per second. Wow.
That's huge.
So it should be pretty smooth. Again, should with 3 or 4 O's. Should be pretty. You
Yeah.
could, it should.
Yeah, I'll definitely try that. But honestly, I never thought about it when I first did it. I never thought about it. I just know how to use the wiggle effect in After Effects, so I didn't even, yeah.
Yeah, we'll definitely try it. We should try it on the stream. Burger dinner. Wow, it's an expensive burger dinner.
Oh, yeah.
It's like that Kobe beef burger type meat, probably. Or actually, no. If you have like 10 friends, that's definitely how much, or 6 friends, that's how much your meal would be for sure.
So what is your favorite burger? So,
Oh, so hard. Here in San Francisco, here in the Bay,
yeah?
you know, nothing really beats a good old-fashioned, like, bar hamburger, you know, some type of, like, burger you get, like, while you're sitting at a bar. There's one really good one in Alameda. Have you been to Oakland?
No. That's actually my first time in San Francisco.
Wow.
Yeah.
If anyone's in the Bay and anyone wants a really good burger, there's a really good one called Scalari's. So good. So good.
Huh.
Manir has Sergio says In-N-Outs. So if he agrees, Scalari's is the best. Yeah, we could talk about food forever. I would love to hear all about food in Toronto. That is the place.
We have a lot of options for sure in Toronto.
Yeah.
Like sometimes it's just you can't find a very specific place that you've been to here in the States somewhere. Like when I was living in Los Angeles, a lot of kebab and shawarma place that I really love and miss. You can't find that.
Munir has a question about what tips do you give for UX designer that's looking for international jobs, especially in Silicon Valley? You're asking the right questions, right people. What's your vibe?
Tip?
What's your tip?
I have no idea how that's going.
It's a hard thing. It's pretty hard actually to do when you're. If you're coming internationally to work? Your workaround has been.
That's a tricky one.
Contract and freelance. I knew a lot of kids at school who were international students, and so it was a big deal when they could find a company sponsor the visa.
Sponsorship is a big deal in here.
It's a big deal.
Yeah.
It exists. I do know a lot of students who have been able to. I think they start in as an intern for the most part, because it's also a big jump for a lot of companies, to kind of sponsor a visa. But so I think coming in as an intern is helpful for both parties. Kind of, it's a good trial period as an employee and as a worker. So as an employee and as the person who's the employer. But if you can, doing freelance and contract work out of for companies or for people or startups that are out of Silicon Valley, that's a great place to start.
Silicon Valley for sure. I mean, I graduated back in 2015. That was like my master's degree. And right after graduation, you get like a work authorization here in the country for like a year. But after this, you need to find a sponsorship. So it's like always a tricky business to get into. But it happens.
Yeah, I wish I could give you more resources, Munir. I think it's a very important topic to be discussed, because there's some really amazing, talented designers who, aren't citizens, and that's just fine.
I'm almost done with this one. Wow, we're almost done with the app.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's almost like you planned it that way. To end perfectly.
I'm not gonna lie, I have been waiting for this. So.
I'm really liking your the actual little graphics you're using.
The iconography?
Yes.
Oh.
Did you make them yourself?
No. Yeah, I'm very bad at illustrating, honestly. So, can I name the tool?
Yeah, I mean...
Noun project?
Oh, yeah. We love the Noun project. Who doesn't love the Noun project?
I don't use anything else.
It's great. It's a great resource. Anybody who needs a set of icons that look the same, and there are some really great designers on Noun project.
Oh my God, they're awesome. And their library is like 2 million plus 2 million icons now. Like, that's huge. Yeah,
and there's a couple of plugins that also do a pretty decent job. They do a decent job at finding icons that you can use. But Noun Project has always been my favorite, as long as you remember to give kudos to which designers you're using.
That's right, yes. That's very important.
The
flat icon, I guess we have a plugin for that. Icons and symbols.
Symbols.
We have this one, and we also have flat icon, I guess. Yeah, there's just a bunch of them. Anyway, like if you want to look for new or search for new plugins, you can always go to plugins and discover plugins, and you can just find them all in here, or you can enter the keyword and it will show you. So we can use icons. Yeah, we have a lot of them here.
I'm sure they're just growing.
Yes, icons for design, app icon generate. No, this is for apps, like to have the app icon. You can have a lot of options in here you can discover.
Yeah, and it's becoming more of a trend now for a lot of designers to create stock icons for use for anyone to use, maybe for anything. Definitely for flat icons, it's the Noun project, and
No, project is my favorite, honestly.
That's. I mean, it's a great resource.
Yeah.
Actually, one of my professors at school was one of the lead designers on. that
Oh, really?
project. Yeah.
That's awesome. I slightly work with them. It was an app that we created, so we had to integrate their plugin.
Ah.
Yeah. What else? I don't think we need this guy anymore. Here's the tooltip.
What's everyone doing in the chat? I hope you're doing the Design Creative Challenge, the daily Creative Challenge.
So
Hopefully you're working. You have about 23 minutes to create a landing page.
Okay, so now let's prototype and create some duplicates to prototype
Yes.
this. Okay.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I'm gonna take some time though. Right. Bill is.
Yeah, when you're prototyping, it's a lot of duplicating screens.
Mhm.
It's the little things to make your design and your flow look even more realistic.
Yeah.
Do you ever prototype on your phone? Do you ever like send it over?
Yeah, I do.
It's great.
Okay, so now we prototype the parts.
Yeah, I feel like when I'm prototyping, like when I'm sharing the screen on my phone, it's funny. I'm like, I look like I'm on my phone, just like on my phone, like using my phone,
Yeah.
but I'm really like trying to do work and like look at my phone to see the screen I'm designing. But it's funny because it's just looks like you're just on your phone.
Yeah, I mean, too bad I have a 6S iPhone, like the old one. I didn't upgrade ever since.
Oh.
So I can't really get that full view.
Oh, and you're
so-
designing for
Yeah.
10? That's hard. That's
It's a
hard.
it's a little bit tricky, yeah, so. Tax.
But you're doing a good job. I mean, for someone who doesn't have a 10.
Thank you. Oh, I forgot. Okay.
Yes, Tim, the live preview. That's what it is. It's great.
Yeah, live preview, definitely. That's what we're using to prototype. You just, get
Yeah, and you
strict
can send it
sometimes.
to anyone. You can send it to
Yeah.
my phone even.
Yeah.
That'd be great. And you can send it to anyone's phone, any stakeholder in whatever project you're creating. Or you could go to a restaurant with it
Yeah.
and sit at a table and prototype there at the restaurant, being like, okay.
Pretend that you're playing.
Yes, you get you get them to give them somebody's check, and you put in the numbers yourself and be like, hey, this is how it would work. Just user validation sessions all day long.
Then what else we have? We have taxes. So the next one would be enter in the tax amount. 15%, like it's 15% in Canada. How much is it in here? 15% as well?
15, 20.
15, okay.
20. It's 20. It's 20 here. I don't know what I'm. It's 20.
Taxes? Taxes?
Or tax.
Yeah.
Sorry, no, thought you meant tip. I thought we're on tip already. Yeah. I don't know why. I don't know. We all used to work at restaurants at one point in our lives, right? Did you ever work at a restaurant?
High school.
Yeah.
Who
Everybody.
didn't?
Who didn't work at a restaurant?
Who didn't?
It's so important to have worked at a restaurant. Yeah. Tim is a really great point, how you design for a 10, but you don't have the notch at the top.
That's a good point, Tim.
And I'm sure a lot of designers don't have like the phone, every type of phone screen that they're designing for. So how do you...
I considered it. No, I considered it. That's why I have all this spacing here.
Spacing, he considers
Like
it?
the white spacing in here.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have the template for the notch, but like...
Maybe having the template, yeah, would be, Tim asked, are you using an overlay or do you just eyeball it? Sounds like he kind of just eyeballs it.
Yeah.
I always put in the, like the time and the Wi-Fi and like the actual like 18.
Oh, the status bar?
Status bar.
Oh, okay. No, I
really
honestly
good
kind of
at
just
words.
eyeball it because always trying to design for iPhone X. So I'm kind of used to approximate, spacing. Then after I finish the whole thing, I try to adjust it again, which is
Yeah.
not the idea.
Maybe you should have the an overlay. Maybe it'll help.
That-
Having the status bar.
We can get it actually from. The sad part is I do have it because I have the iOS kit.
There you go.
Yeah, that's the sad part. So yeah, I will get that just after I finish this one. It's taking some time here. So we have 10 hundreds.
Yep. Grand. I like how you labeled it as grand, like grand total. Nir asks, what tips can you give for someone that wants 2 separate paths, working as a UX designer in big companies or make a startup? Oh, you want 2 separate paths. Oh,
Working as a UX designer in big companies or make it.
you know, you could try one and then the other, right? I mean, unless you want to just do startups forever.
I don't really get like what do you mean by 2 separate paths? Like
If he has interests in one and the other.
not sure if I get it honestly.
Yeah, like maybe it's more like you. Oh, I have so many little tips coming in. Tim's
Maybe
talking about this overlay situation, which I agree with. I agree with Tim. I think maybe an overlay and a status bar would be helpful, but it sounds like this guy knows what he's doing, but it's what I would do. But in terms of Munir's question around someone who wants 2 separate paths, or maybe wants to experience both, how you can, or maybe which one too, or maybe some just tips around.
Yeah, maybe
how to
just some
pick.
tip around how to pick. That would be easier.
So how would you pick? Well, it depends.
Wow.
You know, if you want to work at a startup, you have a much smaller team,
Right.
way more creative input you get to have, and you get to kind of build something just like
Oh my god, I made a horrible mistake now.
what happened.
He said what tips, and I was thinking about tips.
Oh,
That's
funny.
why I was a little bit confused. Like what tips? Like tips? Like the one we're doing here?
Oh,
My bad. My
That's
bad.
good.
Yeah. So yeah, you were saying.
Munir's, yeah, I'm just talking about Munir's
Yeah.
questions. It's all around focusing on targeting big companies or a startup. So like, what do you as a designer, what do you recommend as a designer for what to understand about yourself for maybe making that decision or making that call over what they want to do?
Sure, I would definitely say if you're still learning or you believe that you need to learn more, startups is the way to go because you actually learn how to wear multiple hats and work across different teams over and over. And it's a little bit intensive, I would say, but it's very necessary in order to get more experience in short amount of time. Like you don't have to spend 5-6 years just working at the same company, doing the same or practicing, performing the same role over and over. That wouldn't really help you gain the level of experience you're aiming for to step up your game a little bit in design. So startups, that's what you get when you work for startups or design agencies, like more experience. You work on multiple projects in the same time, and
You have more range of what you're gonna learn, of what you're learning.
Absolutely,
right?
yes.
Instead of being really specific, which is there's so many benefits to being very specific and being on a specific product team and creating and building out a feature or a set of features, like XD, right? XD is a product, and there are people specifically on the team creating and multiplying and focusing on one feature on that product. But as a startup, you have a little more range. You have probably a little more say in what's being made in terms of that front end creation, generative creation as a designer, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Like
yeah.
so you get to ask the questions with the with the creators. Do we need this app, this tip app, this bill splitting app, and here what are the things and flows we need to focus on?
Yep.
And then having full control as a creative to kind of help build that and embody that vision of what you're making, right? That comes more in a startup.
Absolutely. So when you work at a big company, you're pretty much part of a big process. So you keep performing the same task over and over in order to maintain this process as fluid as possible
Yeah.
and get the job done. So I would say if you're into working big companies or corporations, save that until you become more experienced. So you're going there, you're targeting like higher seniority level when you go to big companies. So you have more autonomy over the projects you're working on. But in the beginning, if you're still learning and want to learn more, working at startups would be the best, I guess.
There you go. Advice from Osama about
Hope that helps. Yeah.
what to do if you're still kind of wondering. I think the question to ask is what you want to learn. Like, what do you want to be?
Yeah.
What do you as a designer feel your skills can be the best, where they can be improved? And so for some people, creativity and learning how to be creative and learning how to practice those creative muscles are pretty good, are pretty set.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe you just want to build something bigger, more grandiose, be a part of a larger team. A big company is a great place to do that. Or maybe you want to sharpen your skills and get like really nitpicky. You can do it on a big team as well. But the benefits of startups and
Big
agencies is you get to, the range is just wider and the time spent is shorter. So a lot of learning happens in that time period, but it's hard to kind of, you get the good with the bad.
Yeah.
You know, it's hard to pinpoint what you're going to be learning. So, yeah. It's the dance. It's every dance. And you know, this industry is constantly evolving is the other thing. So
Yeah,
who knows what it's going to even feel like, sound like, what the names of things are going to be in 2 years. UX designer, product designer, interaction designer.
Now we have a full stack designer.
Full stack designer.
So, like for me, it was really helpful because I didn't go to school to learn design. So working with individual developers and other freelancers helped me a lot. I mean, I've seen what they do and how they get the job done, and I was pretty much involved in every single step of the process. So that definitely helped me a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the best tip is to stay creative. And stay creative in your process and build your creative muscles. Because no matter what changes over the years and what tools change and styles change and names, you can reapply. You can apply that practice in another form.
So Tim, because Tim was actually making a good joke, Osama Ghazal, I know what I'm doing, is good a business card slogan. So I actually copied and pasted the status bar just to make sure I'm not like messing around in here. So
I love this.
Yeah, it
this
works.
Is good.
It works.
Just look at that.
Yeah.
Well, of course it works because you're a pro and you can eyeball that just right. But you know, it's just good to see it.
Yeah, it's absolutely helpful just to, especially if you're trying to export this artboard for Behance or Dribble or even Twitter, so you can get a better sense of how things will look like when you copy and paste the artboard in an actual mock-up.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for definitely an actual mock-up. Mock-ups are great way to finish up or round out your designs once you're done with them. But you know, there's a lot of people that don't have an iPhone 10. Some people are still on, you know,
like
6.
mine.
Is it the 6?
Yeah, 6S.
Yeah, lots of people. And maybe not so much people who, I don't know, a lot of people around the world are maybe not on iPhones also. So do you design primarily for Apple, for the Apple iOS?
Last year I started designing for Android because, the company I was freelancing for at the time, they decided to go Android for 3 of their apps. So I had to basically design again for that.
How do you feel that process was, learning that different design system?
Well, design-wise, it was definitely different, but not that different. You had to change some stuff in the resolution and the screen sizes and reposition the elements in a certain way for sure. But I started learning how different that is when we came to test the products on Android devices. It was like,
Like night and day probably, almost. It's like so different.
Not so different, but the resolution and everything on Android devices
they look literally how it looks.
Yeah, the pixels and how things function with each other, because some animations on iOS aren't so applicable on Android and vice versa. So you have to pay attention to native animations and features on each device. And also, the trickiest part in Android is that you have way more devices than iOS. So the only way to test efficiently is to use an emulator. And when you start using an emulator, you kind of lose that edge that you can test accurately, because things on an emulator would never be the same on like an actual device. So the trickiest part in that was for me testing, not designing indeed.
Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, this is the other thing is so many designers nowadays, especially as we're learning, a lot of like classes, a lot of the tutorials are kind of like streamlined around an Apple system. When a lot of people have maybe an Android, and I know, I have the iPhone 10. I'm all for Apple products, but it's important in terms of designing for accessibility. You talked about at the beginning, having the knowledge or maintaining a practice of, again, learning outside of the system that you're working with, so you can adjust to an Android or some other new phone that's maybe big in 2 years.
Yeah.
But awesome. I just want to remind everybody we're at 8 minutes until the window closes for the Daily Creative Challenge, and I'm really hoping to see your work there. We're going over, pretty sure it is a landing page for a web-based live stream video service. We're familiar, semi-familiar.
Yeah.
So let's do that. Yeah, this is the starter file actually that you get when you go on the Creative Challenge. When you hit Get Started, this is the file that you have access to. So I just opened it up in XD, and it's a great way to kind of just start your process. Peter goes over this file in the stream right before, and he gave some inspiration, some fun resources, and it's not too hard of a challenge for this. So let's get on it. Landing page for a web-based application.
That will be a fun one. Can't wait to see.
Yeah, that'll be good.
Coming up. Yeah.
I'm excited. Marissa says, I just graduated and started as a UX designer at a big company. I don't have as much creative freedom, but the company has a lot of resources to train me, and I'm focusing on the UX workflow. Yeah. Oh. I think any experience is going to be good experience. You just, learning in a big company is just as valuable as at a startup, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's different.
Yeah.
It's just
a different way of experiencing things. So now I'm actually trying to change the triggers here from just transitioning, like dissolve transition, to auto animate, just to make it more real, I would say, when you start moving the tab from build to tags to tip.
Oh, cool.
And I just can't stop thinking when you're asked about what tips you would provide. I was thinking about tips
you were
here.
thinking about money.
Like tip.
You're like, well, it would depend on where I am and how good the service is.
I was like, am I missing something? And I was missing a lot. Okay, let's give it a shot. See. Right, so 1. Here we go.
Ooh.
Yeah. Then now we can add tax, so it's 15%. Then we can add tip, 13.
Wow.
So now we have the the bill info done. We can say that, and once you get it done, you can just hit the split with to take you to the second view, where you can select from your contact list, or even just by entering usernames and keywords. So let's animate that as well. So we have time.
Yeah, totally. Wow, it was so specific down to the number.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Am I missing something here? No. Here's the tricky part, because I want this button to animate and becomes a card like this.
Yes.
So I have to rename the layers. That's the hard part.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Let's see it.
Let's give it a shot and see. Oh, no.
No, you want it to
yeah.
slide up, don't you?
First, let me get this in here.
Veneer says, dream job is to work in Adobe. I'm sure I'm chasing it forever. Just keep manifesting it. You never know. You never know.
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
Yeah.
Nobody knows. Yeah. But thank you for joining the live stream. It's good. It's
Yeah.
just a little closer.
Still not yet.
It's that fine tuning.
Yeah.
We're gonna fine tune right up until the design feedback countdown
Sure.
goes off. No, we have 3 minutes, so keep fine tuning.
We're almost actually done. We finished everything except for this one and the wiggle animation that we really want to try after what Tim says.
Yeah. Maybe we'll have an opportunity.
Yeah.
Yep, can't wait to see everyone's designs.
We've got some.
Looks like
Yeah.
we may have some more from yesterday. Let's see. We will see. Feels pretty comprehensive. I think I see the theme that Peter's working with this week.
Oh.
Oh. That slide up effect.
Yeah, I know where the problem is, but I also know that it will take some time. Just I have to basically ungroup and rename everything, then copy the cards I have in here, paste it on the first artboard, reduce the opacity just to make sure that everything is gonna work. So that will take some time, but let's get back to it later if we still have time because we have more.
Yeah.
Let's just showcase this one last time before the
timer.
timer. So basically here, after you enter all the information you need for your bill, the bill information, the tip, and the tax, you select a group of friends. Then you land on this screen where you can actually control each portion separately. So if you want to reduce or increase the amount of money that each one will pay, you can do that from the slider. Just move it up and down like this, and you change the whole thing.
Nice.
Yeah, we'll give it a shot again. Let's enter a bit information one more time. So 100, then the tax is 15, tip is 13. Someone yesterday said that they want to have a optional tip tab or tip feature. So in this design, you can actually enter whatever information you wish. Like you don't have to enter tip or tax if you don't want. Just depends on where you are and what kind of information you have at the moment. And once you do so, you go to that mode. Then you select your friends, and once you do so, you turn into this one and you hit next. So once you do that, you hit next and you land on the split screen and you're ready to go. Just control this. Yeah, I think we only have pretty much 10 seconds to start reviewing your work, guys. That will be fun.
Yeah. We do, and we'll get back to Osama's final design so we can wrap up for us in a second. So yeah, hopefully you guys have given us some designs for today's challenge. I'm gonna refresh my Discord just to double check. And if not, we'll check on some from yesterday. Yesterday was pretty cool as well. All right, we are here. We've made it Okay,
Here we are.
so these are our two challenges. One's from yesterday, one's from today. So we're gonna take a look at Discord and see if we have any leftovers from yesterday while the ones from today kind of start filing in. Yeah, so let's take a look. So we're looking at a user flow, and we're also looking at a landing page. But they're both for a web-based live stream video experience. We're familiar with the type.
Yeah.
We're on one right now. Right. Let's see. Current challenge tab. Remember, you guys can submit right over here under current challenge and feedback, because that's where we're going to give you feedback. Cool, 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 cool. Let's see, how about, this is day one wireframes we didn't get to yesterday. Why don't we take a look at some of these?
Yeah.
Wow, so many. These are so many from yesterday we didn't get to see. Why don't we take a look at a couple? How about this one?
Yeah, this dark one looks nice, actually.
Okay, we got it. Using the Comic Sans, cool. We see who. This looks like a gamer type stream.
Yeah.
Fairly cool. I like the idea of these channels kind of living over here with the trending space. Yeah.
It's actually
And it
pretty
looks
nice.
like these are the live videos where versus maybe the recommended, maybe these are past videos.
And I also like how, who designed this? Like, all right, so how he or she grayed out the red color, just made it darker. The further you go back, it becomes darker just to...
Yeah, like this way.
Put some of them in focus and some of them not in focus. So it's really a nice tweak.
Yes, this kind of this red kind of coming back.
Yeah.
I think that could be applied to. It's ironic that you do it here, but
not the card itself.
The cards itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it would help a lot actually with that hierarchy and having maybe this one the light, this card in front being light.
Yeah, because the way I see it, like the card in the back and the card in the front, almost the same shade.
Yeah.
As opposed to the ones in the middle. So.
Yeah. So play around a little bit more with that. As a wireframe, it works. Definitely works. I like it. Yeah, it works. Yeah, let's see.
You can definitely
stream,
test
channels,
that.
Community. Yeah, you could test this. Yeah.
For sure.
What do you think? What's your definition of a good wireframe?
Something that people can test. Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah, that's as easy as it is. So.
There you go. Yeah, I think it's funny. It's funny we make fun of like the fonts like Comic Sans, but it's a wireframe. Like, it's not supposed to be beautiful essentially.
Functional and showcases the contents.
Exactly. And I do appreciate your copy. You have games, you have streamer names, you have everything kind of down to how many views and monthly viewers. So that really helps us bring in an idea of what you're making and what we can expect. So cool. Thumbs up.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Good job.
Isa-chan. All right. Let's go to this guy.
I see the cascading game is high today.
Oh, the cascade is real with videos. Yeah. What do you think of that?
I love it. I even love it more when it's like design on a perspective plane, so you can actually, like the ones we have on iPhone when you scroll through or navigate through multiple pages open on Safari, like they flip to the side is like moving on a Z-axis, not just like a 3D plane, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Cascade.
Well, this is the challenge for you. All right, we have a wireframe here. Here we go. Okay,
That's
so
awesome.
first things first.
Is that lorem ipsum or just?
I don't know if it's lorem ipsum or or another language completely.
I can tell.
But we can't really tell.
Yeah.
Yeah. What did we say yesterday about lorem ipsum?
We actually, you just like you mentioned this plugin to populate more reliable text, Wikify, instead of
Wikify
just.
is a good one for block text.
Yeah.
But for headers.
Headers, they must be descriptive.
Yeah.
Must be
You can put in
descriptive.
the actual words. You did a great job here with home, channels, popular videos, favorite, list, featured, even down to views. But then you kind of left this one as more of a, we don't really know what this video is. Yeah.
Like
That's where you can kind of take a second and have a little bit of fun and put in just or even like our video or the video or live video or a video.
Yeah, just make it as realistic as possible. Like, you know, when people read it, they can get a sense of what you're trying to build, because visual hierarchy, I guess it's really nice. Yeah, just more content will definitely help, but overall it's great, man. Great work.
Overall it's great. I know everything is. We really like, you know, this idea of, you know, you kind of like lay out in front of us, kind of the same effect that we saw with the last wireframe, but sans color, and that's great, and it still has the same effect. We know what the idea is and we can test it. Would a little more copy help? Yes, but overall, good job.
And I really like when I look at like small visual components here, I really like how you balance everything within the grid in a really neat way.
Yeah.
That's a good job.
Yes, we can see that. You can see you're working with some sort of grid up here. So great, good work. Let's see if there's any coming in from today really quick. Nope, just that one. That's fine.
That's fine.
Here we go.
Yeah.
I like this one. I mean, I like all of them, but I really appreciate the simplicity of the gray box.
And it's quite obvious up there that you want to draw people's attention to this button as opposed to everything else.
Yes, this black button right here.
Yeah, it's very obvious.
Yeah, this is great. This is great. Yeah. See, and then there's sometimes you can sub simple shapes for text. And this is a great example of a really great way to do that. We understand that maybe it's a username, maybe it's a date. We don't really know what that subtext is here on the side, but we know that that's where text could go versus imagery.
Just
so
a little suggestion that like when you try to differentiate between heading and body text or subtext
here,
try to use a thinner like line. So for headers you can use a thick kind of lines, but for the subheader you can use like a thinner font size or like just a thinner line to differentiate and make it obvious that this is a subtext and this is a header. Hope that was clear. That's right.
Yeah, I see that. Or even maybe playing with color.
Or
maybe
color,
maybe a lighter color. Something to showcase something is showing hierarchy, visual hierarchy. But overall, it's simple. It's a wireframe. Great. And we even like the differentiation of color here.
Yeah.
That's pretty fun.
That's fun.
Awesome.
You guys are rocking it.
Yeah, for real. Wireframe is the name of the game. If you can wireframe well, you can do it all.
You can test with wireframes, you can do everything with wireframes, except for launching.
I'm loving how you all used Comic Sans. I think intentionally.
Was that part of the stream today with Peter?
I don't know, but we definitely talked about it a lot in our stream yesterday, so all right.
This is like headers, very clear, discover and get discovered. That's awesome. Body
Thank
text.
you for the lorem ipsum is simply dummy text of the printing and typesetting industry. It totally is. And I kind of love that you used real text with the phrase lorem ipsum. Thank you.
Like even for the videos, the titles, like everything, artist name and the subheader. Yeah.
That's great.
And I really like how you use different tents to differentiate between the title and subheader, like underneath.
Different, what was that?
The tents, like the type tents, like artist name, then they have the subheader in a different, not tone, but just different weight.
Different weight,
Yeah,
got it.
Yeah.
Yes. Some attention was definitely paid to the font and typography here in a funny way and in an actual serious way, and how you could actually space out these. All right, logo, log in, get started. Cool.
It's awesome.
Join us, like to join us here. Cool. Okay, cool designer. With name, cool designer.
Oh, that's nice.
That's scared of Yeah, I almost couldn't tell where the design started and where the wireframe started and where the actual.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Here we are.
So,
Look at that.
I loved sectioning in this one.
Yeah, what do you love about it?
It's just like everything is very obvious for skim readers like myself. It's super easy to parse through quickly when you're scrolling. Probably I would recommend playing around a little more with the spacing between the title of each sections and the cards listed underneath it. So top
Right
stream,
here.
yeah, that spacing.
This kind of spacing situation here.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
a little bit of, and this is where it gets kind of, we get picky with wireframes, is like, it's really not supposed to be anything that's gonna live in the final design. But since it's kind of, we're giving feedback, yeah, there's a lot of spacing that hopefully doesn't fall into, but, so what I'm saying is, a lot of what's on a wireframe doesn't end up in the final design, but a lot of things that happen in a wireframe kind of make it through.
Yeah.
And especially with spacing.
Yeah.
Spacing makes it through to the final design
Because
a lot of the time. So if you can kind of set yourself up for success with spacing early on,
yeah.
it's only going to help you in your final.
Because you're already putting yourself in headspace, so try to take care of these small things as early as possible.
Like I feel like everywhere it's really great. Like here, I feel like I can breathe. I'm reading it. You follow this kind of like this single line here, and that's great. And then even up here at the top, then you kind of get down here, and I'm like, whew, that's cramped. That's little.
Yeah.
Also, it's kind of little.
A little small, the font size, yeah. Okay, can't read
Now
it.
that I'm saying little, it's true. It's a little small. It's hard to read if it's supposed to be a website. And yeah, what is the average font size on a site?
14 to 16.
14 to 16.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think this feels like more like a 10 or an 8. Cool. Thank you, cool designer. You are a cool designer.
That's cool.
Yeah. Here we go. Here's another wireframe.
Oh wow, we got a lot of wireframes today.
I think this, it feels like they're overlapping challenges, but hey, it's great. Wireframes, here we go. I wish I could zoom in. I can't zoom in, but as a wireframe, really great.
Yeah.
It's looking a little, you can look on my screen. It looks a little
it's
dark
just
up
me.
there, but we see you kind of use these shades of blue as your call out to kind of help our eye differentiate, like this is gonna be an image. I really like the card design. I think you've separated this. You can't really see it. Hopefully you can see it, but if you were to open this up in Discord, you can see there's a slight shadow, which helps kind of bring it out. It's cool. It's again, setting yourself up for success later on with your designs. It looks great, but it doesn't have to look great. It's a wireframe. So you kind of went above and beyond with that.
Yeah, it's basically trying to set the tone for what will happen in the UI phase.
Yeah.
You start working on the high fives. Yeah, I really like that. I appreciate it for sure.
Yeah.
Great work.
We can see that there's, talking about something that you can test, with a wireframe like this, some questions you can ask is, are these save tags or flags, a part of your flow? Is that going to be part of your final design?
Also, one of the things that I wanted to ask you is that what do you think of the font size and the icon size?
It's hard because I think this is supposed to be bigger generally. Like this is just like, it's just condensed down on my screen. So I'm not really going to pay too much attention to that because I just can't see it generally. Can I do this? It's a little bit bigger. Yeah. Paying attention to fonts always important. Does seem still a little small. 14, what is it? 14 to 16?
14, 16 is
With
like the
headers
benchmark you
being
can get
maybe
around.
24.
24, yeah.
There's plenty of sites that kind of do it for you, that kind of you can see what the sizes are. Try to stick to one of those templates. Workshops by people for you. Title here. Yeah, even title here kind of works. Yeah. Yeah, so we understand these are going to be different media elements that you're going to save that have different titles. Maybe it's a little bit more of like a learning school space, video sharing space. than like a gaming space, which I appreciate. Yeah, cool. Let's see.
Awesome.
Let's do a couple more.
Sure.
Look, I love the Discord. Oh, here we go. So that's the first. Thanks for sharing that. Let's try this one. Let's just take a look.
Oh.
Ooh. You've piqued Osama's interest.
That's strange.
So this one's really interesting. This feels like something that could live like on a tablet almost, right? Or maybe in a different screen completely. I'm not
Other
quite
than
sure.
a desktop, yeah.
Not quite sure. But you know, it's also, well, that's a good
Yeah.
thing to bring up with wireframes. Even with a wireframe, it's important to know the context what you're building it for and in. I'm assuming this is supposed to be almost like, it's supposed to be a web-based space. Not really sure. It feels with this sidebar like it could be a touch, you know?
Yeah.
So maybe it is more for
And
an
I just
iPad or a screen somewhere, but what do you think?
Here, just though, it's very interesting because I couldn't tell at first, like, what kind of screen you're targeting here. But I mean, the way you built the bar on the left, and also the way you stack the cards or the categories
Yeah.
with each other. I'm thinking about scaling. Like, if you're trying to scale this design or to animate this design, how would these cards and visual elements behave? That's what I'm trying to think about. Like, if you're trying to change the bar mode and make it expandable to the right, how would everything else on the screen behave in this case? Well, that's really interesting.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, there's something about it that, yeah, maybe spacing it out would help understand kind of the behavior, but yeah, also a wireframe, essentially, you know, not beautiful, but works.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
But you can easily parse through and know where to look, so
Yeah.
for sure.
Cool. All right, guys. Maybe this is one more. Let's do one really fast. Let's do speed round. Ooh. Look at that. Cool. Okay. Nice. So it seems that we have a bit of almost kind of like a use case type series. We have a flow of sorts, kind of like early. We have a new solution.
For the target user.
Target user, yeah. That's great. Really important to do before you wireframe.
Yeah.
So thank you for including that, as well as some mood boards.
Yeah.
Awesome. I think that was also part of the prompt. That's great. Taking off of different streaming gaming platforms.
That's awesome.
Ah, I see. So it's going to be for this maybe convention that already exists. Cool. There you go.
Yeah.
Nice. That's great. Great hierarchy. What to watch next, because that's usually what people want to do. All the way down to behind the game story, something that's not as relevant to the top. Let's see.
So I also wonder,
Yeah.
is that like pagination or like these circles?
Yeah.
Or
is it user profiles?
yeah. Yeah.
We're not really sure. So there's some shapes here, maybe to clarify. I think with a wireframe, it's put in what you really, really want people to understand you're doing.
Indication.
Indicate what these shapes are. If you're going to go kind of with that, maybe we don't know that they're user profiles, or maybe like themes, maybe games.
Play icon, like anything
maybe they're
that really
speakers,
indicates the
you know, because it's a convention. Maybe they're different speaker profiles. Not really sure. So there you go. But there we go. We got a little bit of color, and there's your CTA of getting a ticket. Maybe that's the most important thing generally for this site to exist with. So
most important call to action.
most important. Cool. Awesome. Thank you for showing us your wireframes.
You guys are killing it.
You guys are crushing it. I can't wait to see more. Work on today's, and then tomorrow Peter will have another one for you. So keep working on that, you guys. And let's
Thank you guys.
We'll just come to wrap up with you.
Sure. All right, so where did we start? Okay, so we were trying to prototype the bill information functionality. So get back to it. Let me enter my bill information, which is going to be 100. Then tax, and then tip. Oh, I forgot to again. Yeah.
Yeah, prototyping gets so finicky.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So any tips for making a solid UI UX project presentation that makes you able to show your skills and have high rate for getting more recognized? Yes. We do have tips. I think essentially it's kind of what Osama's been doing.
Yeah.
You know, he's making an idea of his come to reality and fruition through different wireframes. It's the steps he took from the beginning to the end are important to showcase, right? So at some point you're going to showcase what you've done in more like a case study almost, but
Case study or more presentable way in the sense that even if you're working on a hypothetical project, I would say try to conduct it in a real way. So try to signify the potential target audience for the product, people who might use the product and benefit from it. Everybody you probably at some point you will actually develop that product, but until that point, you can still work on validation. You can clearly address the target audience that you're building this app or product for. You can explain the process of how you concisely identified this target audience and what kind of key factors that made you decide those users specifically. When you explain that, you actually draw people's attention because you're trying to communicate your thought process other than just impressing people with visual components, I would say.
So tell your story.
Yeah.
Tell your story of how you got from the beginning to end. Osama did it in 4 hours. All of these.
Oh, yeah.
And there's so much to show along the way of this idea. So work on the storytelling aspect.
Storytelling, and don't really focus that much on the artifacts. Like it's not a checklist. So don't say it's research or planning or design. Try to use your own words and basically, yes, emphasize the story that help you come up with this design eventually.
Yeah, we're really coming to the end of the stream, and I'm really gonna miss your tips, and also these tips.
I'm gonna miss you guys.
Yeah, so maybe we'll go through the app one more time before we have to say farewell.
All right, so let's prototype quickly. The bill information. Then let's switch to tax, which is 15%, and tip, 13%. Split, and excuse the lack of animation here, guys, but we kind of run out of time. So after you select your friends, you hit next, and now you're ready to go and actually split those expenses with your friends. So you go to the split screen. And now we have like equal distribution across all the friends, and we want to change that. We want to make Tiffany pay less than other people because she didn't stay until the end of the night. So let's just move the slider a little up, and now she will pay less, and everything will repopulate to provide the new values for her. Then that was the major functionality that I wanted to prototype for today. But other than that, we also have the group screen, where you can select one of the groups and start right away, start on a new bill instead of just having to begin the process from the very beginning. What else? Do we still have time to try the wiggle animation that Tim mentioned?
I don't think we have.
We have time for that, yeah. But I will definitely try to do it.
Yeah. So make sure to check out, shout out your where we can find you. And
yeah, sure. So you can definitely find me on Behance. I have my handle in here. We can actually go to the website, or
I'm sure somewhere your socials are linked somewhere. But thank you again for joining us today and yesterday. Check out his live stream yesterday. We talk a lot about wireframing and all those good things. But thanks again for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you again for tuning in, you guys. See you later.
Thank you, guys.